All right, in the divine light, everyone. So we're gonna go live and just kind of do a bit of a channeling, and we're gonna talk about the 3-eye atlas and how a lot of people are making the correlation and the connection to it being connected to the Blue Star Kachina from the Hopi prophecy. And the prophecy is that, you know, there's a time where conscious evolution on this planet happens, and the true teachers were going to emerge and be activated with upgrades, you know, be ready to take in and assimilate this information. And we're supposed to teach a new technology to this planet. And so I believe this is somewhat, in a sense, connected to the prophecy that I've been feeling forever. And even as of now, the spirits have me doing some really unique nuclear atomic chemistry and having me do the full mathematical equation of understanding how photonic light collapses into matter in our reality. And I think they want us to understand how to activate and translate the light that's coming in from the sun. And a lot of different channelers have released information on YouTube right now about how information was being programmed into the sun on October 16th. And that was actually the same day that my Gaia TV episode with Regina on Open Minds actually aired and sent that information out into the cosmos. And so I believe it's all interconnected on how we're basically activating the collective consciousness right now. And so the thought is that the photonic light that is coming in right now, people are saying that the blue star is actually activating the sun, and the sun is being supercharged with photonic information. And now we know, when we try and assimilate and understand exactly how we access information from light, you just have to back engineer the full process of how our eyes take in photonic light. Our eyes translate, you know, over 128 million photonic bursts of light and intelligence every nanosecond. It's unbelievable. We are like the most powerful superhuman quantum computers available. Everything that they've done to understand technology is by back engineering how we work, literally in harmony in this unique holographic simulation. So as we experience the photonic light coming from the sun itself, that's the purest form of organic light. We're not being manipulated by some synthetic light inside of a room. This is literally pure organic sunlight, and that's how we access quantum codes. They come in through our eyes, through our skin, neurophonics, through the wind. There's all these ways that, you know, information is translated through atomic alchemy, and then we access it. And so the full breakdown and understanding of all of this is how we're going to be able to translate the information that's coming in at this time. And so as we look at the sunlight coming in, the photonic light, it comes into our eyes. The retinas literally translate that information into bioelectric signals sent down the optic nerve to our amygdala, which is our emotional response chamber. And it literally assesses whether or not we are going to have an emotional response from the information provided. Now, if we're in Mother Nature, we're getting divinity. So literally it has no worries about the information being sent through the neural pathways to the pineal gland to create the holographic simulation, which is literally a toroidal torsion field of holographic, you know, micropixels that literally create the living holographic simulation that we're experiencing. It's an intimate emotional experience. We literally can feel and taste the energy provided, right? So we're in a living harmonious simulation. If you're all with me, share a like, hit the likes or whatever, so I can keep going. I know they want to have everyone like all this stuff, but what we're talking about is the possibility of the Blue Star Hopi prophecy coming into effect right now, meaning that this 3-eye atlas could be the sacred return of the Blue Star Kachina by the Hopi prophecy. And this would be a time of conscious evolution on this planet, and it's like not like we don't know and understand that this is needed so deeply right now. There's an actual reset that's happening, and we understand that there's some dark energies that are being projected, but that's all about trying to control our emotional response as a collective consciousness. So as we literally can discern and be the conscious observer of thoughts that come into our mind, right, into our simulation, right, we have to literally be the safeguard, because they're projecting information through our holograms, our cell phones, the black mirror devices. They're trying to project a certain outcome of our collective reality at this time, and that's all Project Looking Glass Technologies. It's literally, how do you control the collective consciousness's emotions so we can collectively have an effect, an outcome, a projection of that holographic simulation of a collective consciousness on this planet. So Project Looking Glass would literally be them back engineering how the pineal gland works and literally assimilating that on a macro scale to literally mimic the outcome of the Earth as a one auric field and a one aurical projection of consciousness, of the collective consciousness of the living entities on this planet. So that's their projection. They're trying to understand what would be the actual projected outcome of our collective consciousness at that time, you know. And so it's always evolving because we are evolving as humans, and we are literally taking our Akashic sovereign quantum earth rights back by accessing this information. You know, anyone who watches this, I hope someone's recording this live as well, because these are the quantum Akashic codes that are needed to literally translate the information that's coming in at this time. And I wonder if it'll even let me switch around my view, because I've been basically creating the mathematical equation of how photonic light comes in and translates, literally has a nuclear reaction and shifts its atomic structure, right? If the proton shifts, the number of protons shifts, then the actual element can shift. And that, in that sense, when we have rearranging of the protons and the neutrons, it actually will have a nuclear reaction and effect of the shifting of the element. And so as we break this down, we can see a full mathematical alchemical equation of how photonic light as information literally alchemizes into matter, and how we can then, in a sense, if it's about how do we understand how to take information that literally exists as a wave vibration and understand the mathematical equation of how to collapse that information into matter in our reality, that's exactly what's happening in every moment, right? It's a natural organic experience that we have as our eyes actually take in the information. The information is existing as photonic light, photons, packets of information. And as we take that in, we translate it in every moment. We don't need something, we don't need a book to translate that information. It's part of us as the divine superhuman supercomputers on this planet, and how we articulate the holographic simulation. So basically all the information that we're accessing right now is for us to truly understand that this is a simulation. And every moment, each one of us is the divine creators. That's why we're the own gods of our own experience, right? Because we are the central point where all that information creates a moment of singularity and collapses into matter, you know. And that's the exact moment that the pineal gland receives not only in the 128 million receptive nano responses, you know, hertz of information through the rods and cones in our eyes, the retinas, but we also take in information. If we close our eyes, then where do we receive information from? There's an inner response. You know, every one of our cells is in direct communication, right? The cerebral spinal fluid in every one of the cells is actually communicating through photonic, kinetic, synaptic bursts of intelligence, right? Every single cell is actually connected through electrical pulses. And so as our whole body is communicating, we close our eyes and we access the full, you know, pranic upgrade of the kundalini energy. That's a full month cycle of that calcium egg growing. Literally, there's a sacred deposit that forms, you know, and it's part of, you know, the process of creating the seed of consciousness. It'll push its way all the way up through the ventricles of the brain, the third ventricle of the brain, push out a calcium deposit and literally clear the inner retinas and give you a complete full activation where your pineal gland gets reset. And they say that it's like having the voice of God. But there's different ways that literally information comes from within, and it also comes from without. And so there's two different ways where we collaborate. And that's why they say you have to be the conscious observer of the thoughts that come through us at all times, because we are in control over the inner emotional response. We're not completely in control of the photographic, holographic projections that we're getting from our cell phones, but we are in control of the divine simulation being out in Mother Nature, right? Getting to experience the movement and the flow of water and the wind as a vibration that touches our skin, literally creating the vibration that we feel, called neurophonics. And so it's the senses in every different way that we take in information, but information is intelligence. And when you're out in Mother Nature, and as we're accessing photonic light, that light has already communicated with every other living plant and tree. So it's also an inharmonious interaction of alchemy with the wind itself, right? The oxygen, the CO2, carbon dioxide, everything. The actual solidification of like C14, right? So all of this stuff is literally connected to how we access the purest information, right? Because like I was saying, if we're out in Mother Nature and we take in all of this light, that's pure. That's literally light that's been in harmonious communication through a symbiotic resonance with everything around it that's living and intelligent. So the light actually breathes in and out of the plants. And so when we finally access that light has the Akashic intelligence of the living, everything on this planet. And so that's what's important right now, is for us to truly understand, how do we access information? And is it pure? Is it divine? Or is it part of the projected holographic simulation that they're projecting? Meaning through this device. But here I am, I'm speaking the divine truth. You can feel it within my frequency, and everyone should be able to read the divine truth frequency in someone's expression, right? So that's why I speak without sunglasses on. You can read my soul vibration through my eyes, all of this. But people feel it, and that's why we speak and speak our divine truths as these verbal codes. And that's why I'm sharing this with all you right now, because I want you to all become attuned and aware of how this all works. And let me see if there's any way to switch my camera around, you know, to try and see if I can show you how to translate this information I've been receiving on this mathematical equation right here. But let me see how to do this. Phone. I've never done it before where I've turned it around. Anyways, maybe we'll get back into it with this a little bit later. Anyways, if anyone enjoyed this, hit the like buttons. You can follow me on YouTube, Ancient Azatlan. I'm starting to release a lot of really powerful information on YouTube as well. So go on over to YouTube, share, like, and subscribe. Do all the good things. Hit a like button if this activated you in any way. I appreciate you all. Keep shining vibrant light. I love you all. Blessed.